Hey, what is going on? So glad to have you here with me for the rest of my life. My name is Tico
You
Jean,
can't start like that.
and this is for the rest of my life. No, you want to start over?
Oh yeah, let's just start over. We might keep it, but
All right. Hey, what is going on? Welcome to the potty, Poddy,
What?
the potty cast,
Okay.
Poddy,
That's
not
different.
Potty.
I just know these people are so entertained by us.
Yeah, we're just so glad you guys
always
decided to
so
watch
different.
or listen to us. My name is Tico Jean, and
I'm Jasmine Jean.
introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Jasmine.
Hi, Jasmine.
Hi, nice
What'd you
to
say?
meet you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Yeah.
you. Hey, we're so glad you joined us for the LeftOvers Talk podcast. Listen, we're about to dive in real quick. We don't have a set talk list, so we're gonna shoot from the hip.
But it's just us today.
Yeah, it's just us
no
today.
guest.
We do want to say thank you to our past two guests, Deacon Bill and Deaconess Patricia, aka Trish. They're not really deacons. We're not one of those churches. But if you are one of those churches, that's
more power to you.
Yeah, peace be with you. Anyways, let us get started. I was thinking about something so important, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was talking about making room because we've just been talking about making room, especially with our lives. But I wanted to talk about that's what it was. Our talents.
Yes.
Yes. One of my favorite scriptures is Matthew 25, where Jesus, he's just sitting there talking to his boys and his girls that were there, just about your talents.
Yeah.
He gave the parable of the talent. And so basically, if you don't know the parable of the talent, the gist of it is the owner, gave everybody what they got because of what they could do.
Yeah. What they could do with their capacity.
Yeah. And so with that, somebody got 5, somebody got 2, somebody got 1. And the people that got 5 and 2, they did something with what they had. They doubled it. The person that had 1 hit it and didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And it says a lot because he got less because that was his capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And the other people got more because that was their capacity. And so just thinking about what is your capacity and why do you have what you have and not more, is there room for you to have more?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to
I
start
love
with.
When Pastor Kenneth was talking about that, like, it's one of those things where you hear, I know that Jesus spoke in parables because he knew that they were just going to last for forever.
Yeah.
Because like we just talk about it for forever and just get something different every time. But like, I've kind of glossed over the fact that he gave them each according to their own ability.
Right.
Because I think sometimes we think about it. Well, I have a few thoughts about it, but I think sometimes we think about it as if it's like favoritism.
Right.
Like he gave each one according to his favorite, but no, it's just according to their ability.
Yeah.
Which one that means that God knows our ability. He knows our capacity.
Right.
He's never going to give us anything beyond what we can contain or control. And so he gave them according to their own ability, expected a return, and then to those that he did get a return from, it says he gave them more.
Right.
And so I think this thought just came to me, but like I feel like there's people that are wanting God to do more in their lives, but they're obviously not making do with what they've already been given.
That's good.
Like they're like, well, we're going through the season of make room, and like, God, I want to do more, but then he's like, I've already given you something, I'm actually expecting you to do more, and you're not. And so it's like, are we begging God for something? Are we like pleading with God for something when really it's on our end? It's our responsibility to be doing something. Yes, the answer is yes to that question, but I haven't even thought about the fact that maybe there's somebody, maybe it's you, maybe it's us, whatever, that are like, we're asking God for, like, how do I help me to make room?
Right.
And he's like, I've given you this, and
Everything
I'm expecting you. I just need you to get a return. This is definitely a very different episode.
Yeah, this is different.
You had something on your lip though.
Thanks.
But yeah, go ahead.
I think I brought that up because we were just talking with Trish on the other episode about
everything.
Oh, everything. The level that we're going to. And you were saying how we're probably getting this teaching because we're about to get into because we're going to get into something different.
Yeah.
And so what tends to happen is if we're not learning from our past mistakes, if we're not ready for what we're about to receive, if we're not making room for that, when it comes, we won't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what reminded me of the talents, because the people that had 5, the guy that had 5, the person that had 5, he was ready for it.
Right.
Because that was his capacity.
Right.
He was able to do something with it. But the person that had 1, they weren't ready for it.
Yeah.
Or they probably were ready for it.
He was, but he just was so afraid
of what the master.
Yeah.
So they spent time with the master.
Right.
Because the master knew their capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew how to delegate to each one.
That's so good.
Accordingly.
Yeah.
So he wasn't like, you know what, I think you can do 2 today. No, he knew them.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but they knew him, because then it says, because the one with the 1, he said, I knew you to be a hard man.
Yeah.
I knew you to be a man that reaped where you have not sown. So the relationship, it wasn't that, it was an accident, that the master gave, he didn't just flippantly choose whatever. But no, like, I know you. We have this relationship. You know what I'm expecting of you. I just need you to go do the work.
Right.
I just need you to go, make this one another one, and then I'll it's like a test.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy, but it's work, and it takes us to be bold. It takes us to use faith.
Definitely.
To use our faith to, and I mean, we say the parable of the talents. If you don't know, talent is just it's a sum of money. It can be like, how we use talent.
It could be like a literal
talent, like maybe you play the drums or whatever, or whatever your talent is that's not musical or art, those other talents. But it's just like your heart, your resource, whatever your time, treasure, and talents, like whatever God's asking you to do. Maybe I have a friend right now, and hopefully she's watching this.
That, friend.
I'm not gonna. She goes to our church, but I'm not gonna name her.
Yeah, we won't say her name.
But I was talking to her last night, because at one point in time she was doing this thing on social media where she would like post encouraging videos and, just kind of speaking from her heart, and people were impacted by it. And she kind of just fell off, and she hasn't been doing it for a while. Yeah. And so I was talking to her last night. I was like, hey, so when are you gonna get back to that? And she just was like, well, I don't know, and for a while I've been encouraging her, like, and I was talking about during chapel some weeks ago. I was just talking about how so I'd never noticed, I think it's verse 19 where it says, after a long time the master came back. And so was
gone for a while.
Yeah, he was gone for a while, but all the while expecting that return. So I think even it's like God in his mercy, he's obviously Jesus is coming back, but he's given us these talents and expecting us to do something with it while he's gone.
Yeah.
Because when he comes back, that there's no more time left.
You can't do nothing with it. Time is up.
Whatever.
Time is up.
And so, but I really do think that the guy that had the 1 talent, he had plenty of time to go dig up that talent and go do something. Yeah. Like, it wasn't, and it's not even that it's not like he forgot where he buried it, because the master came back and he went to go find it and gave it back to him. Yeah. So it's not like, it's not like the Holy Spirit isn't speaking to us about the thing that we know we've buried, or so to speak, or whatever. Like, he's constantly, and he's genuine, but he's constantly nudging us. And I know that's true for me. But it's like, let's not waste time. Let's not be fearful of the master, but understand that he's only given us what we can handle. It's nothing to be afraid of. And there's going to be so much fruit on the end of it. Like, so much fruit. He said, and then he told the one with the 5 and one with the 2, he said, enter into the joy of your Lord. So it's like, if that's the reward, then go through the sacrifice, the struggle, the hard, whatever. What I imagine, like, the guy with the 5, like, haggling, like, no, bro,
man,
like,
come
on, like, let me flip this with you, like, like, doing the work, putting in the work, to get what he needed to get back to his master, all for that reward, to see the master's smile on his face,
Yeah. I would like to, like, picture it just like you said, the guy haggling. All right, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put 2 talents in the bank, let it accrue some interest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this 1 talent. I'm gonna go sell some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go buy some stuff to sell some stuff to flip. Just do something with what you have. And I love that those people showed that they made room, whether you believe it or not. But they made room with. This is for you who's watching. What are you doing with what you have?
Yeah.
How are you making room with what you have? And so when they made room with what they had, first of all, they had capacity.
Yeah.
and then they made room what they had to increase their capacity.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing about it is when it comes to this physical or now, that makes sense, or currently, whatever your talent is, whether it is a talent like you're a good orator, you're a good speaker, or you're good with people, whatever your talent is, you can clean cars very well. Whatever it is, go out and do something and get better at it.
Yeah.
And it's not just being able to do more talents.
Right.
But it's being better with your capacity.
Yeah.
And so
getting better at the one thing like that you know that God has given you to do. And sometimes it's even maybe right now what you need to be doing to make room is find out what that is.
Right.
Because we all have something. He's all given us something, whether it's at the front of the room or not. Like it, the most gifted people in the room shouldn't just be the people that are the pastor or the whatever, but there's plenty of people that are gifted in the marketplace. Maybe you're good at negotiating, maybe you're good at real estate or whatever it is, and all of that can be used to the glory of God in whatever way that he asks you to do that. But the point being, like, he's expecting us all to make room. He's not just expecting Kingdom Life to make room.
He's not just one area.
It's not just Kenneth Estrada. It's not just you or me. Or Pastor Lynette or whatever. It's
not just the worship team, not just the team,
right?
Ministry
Exactly.
Team leads.
He's expecting it from all of us. Maybe it's like maybe you've been feeling a tug to spend more time with your kids, or find a creative way to teach the word to them. Maybe that's what the Holy Spirit's been asking you to do, but you're unsure. It's like make room in that way, and then see what God does on the other end. I feel like it's like he accrues so much more interest than we could ever do.
Definitely.
So it's like just investing in that. He's like, all right, I'm throwing on some.
Yeah, I was going to say that once you do that, you also give space for God to bless it.
Yeah.
You're it's no longer in your hands because you decide, hey, God, I'm going to do this onto you. I'm going to do this for you.
Right.
And so now there's room for God to bless it because if it's in my hands, I'm the one that's in control.
Right.
I don't have space for God to bless me or to bless my talent or whatever it is because I'm trying to make it happen in my own strength. So once I step out and no longer do it in my own strength, God can step in.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm preaching.
Oh yeah.
No, but seriously, you can God this when you make space for God to bless it, God will bless it.
Yeah.
And it's not.
He just wants us to have faith in him.
Yeah. He wants to be a good father.
Him. Yeah.
Definitely.
And he is. But I also think about, so you just saying that made me think about the parable of the prodigal son, because so the prodigal son, it's almost like a similarity. I've never thought about this before, but like, okay, so the prodigal son gets his gifts, right? He has his talent and he goes and wastes it.
Yeah.
He goes and does the wrong thing with it. But the whole time, the other brother's been in the house the whole time. The other brother has had access to everything that God has had. The father has had. It says he filled the fatted calf, and then the older brother is angry, and he's like, "Well, why did you just throw this party? He went to go waste all your money." And the father looks at him and says, everything that I've always had, everything that I have has always been yours.
Yeah.
So it's like we always have access. We all always have access and this ability to tap into what God has for us. But plenty of us just sit in the seats,
sit and wait, and sit and watch,
and then like watch other people get blessed or watch other people get their breakthrough.
Yeah.
But it's available to all of us. Like we said, it wasn't about favorites. It wasn't about whatever. He gives us each according to our own ability. But what are you gonna do with it? Because the other brother also had an inheritance.
Yeah.
It wasn't that the prodigal had an inheritance. They both had inheritances, but I don't know.
I think one of the other things is people like to compare.
Yeah.
Compare their gift to somebody else's gift. Oh God, I want to play the piano, but you're called to be in kids ministry because you're great with kids.
Yeah.
Or God, I want to preach. Girl, you is not a talker. you know you're gonna get shot, but the thing is, and then we start to compare our gifts.
It kind of sounded like you said shot.
Shy.
Yeah.
Get
shy.
But we tend to compare our gifts to what we think we could do or we should do or what looks best.
What's glamorous.
What's the spotlight. But we don't understand that. Some of us don't understand that that's not where we're supposed to be. That's not where we're called to be. And there's something about being where you're called to be.
It's so enjoyable.
It's so there's so much more fruit that I saw a picture that said just because you fit doesn't mean that's where you belong.
Yeah.
And the picture was a clementine with a onion inside one of the spots for the clementine. And so the onion fit right into it, but that's not where it belongs.
Right.
And so we know that it's not going to bear any fruit.
Yeah.
So just finding where you belong, trusting God that where he has you is where he has you.
Yeah.
Because the fruit from that is so much more better.
Yeah. And it's like, the reality of it is, Pastor Kenneth can only reach basically the people that walk into the church.
Right.
Not everybody's going to walk into the church. Not everybody, works at your corporate job or works in your office or, whatever it is, works in your call center, whatever, works at your restaurant, whatever. So Pastor Kenneth only has Pastor Kenneth, us, whatever, only has anybody that preaches from the front of a room only has a certain capacity, right? God has given them that capacity to reach those certain amount of people over their lifetime or whatever. But think about, then there's people that you're called to.
Right.
There's people that I'm called to, you're called to, that only we're able to reach. Like, we have our neighbor, we're not going to say his name, but
I was thinking the same thing.
that came to church.
Yeah.
And
he watches online.
He watches
online.
Hey,
shout out to my neighbor. I'm not gonna say anything that way they don't look up your information, but we love you.
Or so try to figure out where we live.
Yeah.
But yeah, he showed up one day. We noticed that the person that had lived there was moving. He just moved in shortly after, and we invited him to church. Hey, you invited him to church kind of out of just like he's a friendly guy, just kind of out of conversation.
Out of the blue.
Hey, do you go to church? We're youth pastors. Gave him an invite card, and he came a couple weeks ago. And I just think about Pastor Kenneth, who's never been able to reach him.
Right.
Pastor Kenneth, it's like that the inability for our pastor to reach certain people exists, but we have an ability to reach out to the people that are around us in our community.
Right.
To impact them. And then the Sunday that he came, he rededicated his life.
Praise the Lord. Him and his son.
Yeah, him and his son. So, and again, Pastor Kenneth did not hand him that invite card, could not have handed him that invite card. He didn't knock on his door and say,
hey, yada, yada, yada.
I'm the pastor of this church. No, it's our job to, and that goes back to that's being one of the ways that Pastor Kenneth charged us as a church to reach out and love every believer, because and that's the reason why. I mean, his stretch can't go outside the four walls. His stretch, I mean, it can, because he has,
but it's limited.
It's limited, yeah.
And so it's like I'm thinking of a virus, but that's not a good analogy. I want to use on like tag team. So I tag you, and now it's your turn to go out there. So Pastor Kenneth, every Sunday, he gives us the word. Now it's up to us to take what we got and tag team it to what's next.
Yeah.
So
it's a big deal. So I would encourage you, I mean, anybody, I think that's one of the ways that we can use our talents, really. It's how can you love on somebody today? How can you express God's love and just be a blessing? And ultimately, I mean, it's not just about, I should say this, it's not just about church numbers. It's not just about church attendance, because anybody can sit on a chair on a Sunday morning and get the word or whatever, and that just be what it is. But are you really interested in life change? Are you really interested in making room in that way to see your fruit in your return on your investment? Right? Because you're investing in somebody's eternity, in somebody's life, in a great way. Should we take a quick break?
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna take a quick pause. We'll come back right after these short announcements.
Sorry about that. We are back and still talking about making room and the parable of the talents. What does it mean to use your talents, or what how do you explain it? What does it mean to make room for God?
Room with your talents.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
We were talking about Pastor Kenneth about how so for him a few years ago, he was saying that the Lord told him to prepare his meal, or the food that he gives to us, for his sheep, but also a little extra, which is not analogy, but a parallel to what he does in real life. So Pastor Kenneth can cook, y'all. If you haven't had Pastor Kenneth's food, I'm so sorry for you. But what happens is when he cooks food, he makes enough for his family, and then makes extra just in case anybody stops by.
Yeah.
And so for us, we have the opportunity to take that extra, or to make the food that he given us as a Kingdom Life family, and to go back out.
Yeah, that's good. And to take the leftovers.
Provide the leftovers.
Yeah.
Plug. Anyways, that's
it's a big deal.
It's really big. I'm sorry, this microphone's bothering me.
No, it's okay. So I just want to encourage, all of us, just really take an inventory of what has God given you.
Right.
Because like we were saying, it's not necessarily always the same for everybody. It's not always the same for everybody. Maybe you're really good at loving on people. Maybe you're really just a caring person. Maybe you are someone that God just always has somebody on your heart to minister to or talk to, or just be there for. Maybe that's your talent, and maybe that's something that you need to. Maybe that's something you dropped and buried because whatever.
Right.
That you need to pick back up. Maybe you're good with kids and you felt a tug on your heart to get into the kids ministry, Kids ministry,
plug,
or Generation Youth,
plug. Or you're really good with technology, or you just want to serve somewhere on a life ministry team, like the media team, plug.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe you don't really want to, but you feel like you should, plug. Yeah. The reality of it is it's not just about plugging into church.
Right.
That's a huge part of it.
Unplug.
But the main goal is, well, first of all, your yes to God should just be most important. He's just looking for our obedience. He was just looking for the one that was given one talent. He just wanted him to be obedient to what he asked him to do. And so just your obedience can take you so far, and you never know what's on the other side. Like, you never know. I was thinking today, so at the day of this recording of this podcast, it has been 2 years since I moved to Florida. Before
Praise
we got
Lord.
married.
Welcome.
Yeah,
so glad you're
crazy? Here. We drove 16 hours. But just thinking about, like, what were we gonna say?
I was gonna say not straight. We did
we split it, but still. But just thinking about since that day, like, what my yes to you and ultimately to God has meant. Like, the places we've gone, the things we've done, the things that we're continuing to do, the things we're about to get into. It's like, man, your yes just takes you so much further. There's so much more beyond your yes. Like, your yes is just a door. It's like literally just, and I used that analogy on the last podcast, but it's literally just like your yes is you turning the knob, you opening the door, and you have no clue what's on the other side. But
it's always good on the other side. It always is good on the other side. It might not seem good in the moment sometimes, because that's your flesh that's like, oh man, work. For instance, we're opening up, we're launching a new campus.
Yeah, Kingdom Life, Winter Spring.
Our yes is going to open doors that we don't know.
Yeah,
like lives are going to be changed, and it might be very pivotal for our ministry. But right now, me physically, I know it's going to be a lot of work. I got to go plan all this stuff out. I got to make a list. I got to make purchases. I got to haggle with the pastor to see what we need to get versus what I want to get. It's just a lot of work physically, but I know that me being obedient in this and me correcting my attitude at the same time opens the door to God's blessing.
Right.
Because God has some great things in store for us.
Yeah.
And so when I or anybody gives him our yes, and it's not just about giving your yes, but giving your yes with a good attitude.
Yeah. Not just like
your attitude affects your altitude. Yeah. So
say it again.
Your attitude affects your altitude. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. I just add that one. Anyways, no, but seriously, when you give God your yes with a good attitude, with a willing attitude, it's the what's the saying? The good and the willing, obedient, the willing will eat the good of the land.
Scripture, yeah.
What's the scripture?
The willing and obedient.
It's saying. It's the willing and obedient. So it's not just about the yes, but being wanting to do it.
Yeah.
So I hope that made sense. Did I say it backwards? Obedience would be the yes. The willing would be the attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the two of them that come together.
You just make yourself laugh. Yeah, your obedience can take you so much further. I feel like your willingness determines how you get there.
Oh, that's good.
Like, because sometimes you can, I don't know. It's like I think about, and Pastor Kenneth has used this example. Like, you know, you ask a child to take out the trash or something, and they're like, ugh, sure, or like, you know, they take a long time to do it, or you know, drag their feet or drag the trash bag through the house, you know. But then you do something like with a good attitude, and he expressed like him as a father. It just makes him so much more.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like blesses him to see his kids just being obedient and willing and doing it. My parents, when I was growing up, would always say delayed obedience is disobedience. So just doing it immediately.
Yeah.
You know, giving your yes immediately. And if you're receiving conviction from the Holy Spirit, like I am right now, just repent. Which means to change your thinking about the thing and just do the thing.
And once you do it, God is faithful too.
Yes.
God is faithful.
He puts his stamp of approval on it, which is undeniable.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was good. This is a good talk.
Hey, thanks again for joining us for our potty PODDY. No, it's not sticking.
It's okay. You can.
Hey, comment if you think potty is sticking.
We can
I
be
think
done
it
with
is.
it. It's okay.
No. Pod C.
Oh.
Potty C.
What does that mean?
Podcast.
Okay.
I'm gonna I said plagiarize. I'm gonna
trademark
trademark it. Trademark the potty. The Leftovers Talk podcast. Brother. We're so glad you guys joined us. Like and share this with somebody that needs to hear this, or you just that thinks that if you think that they'll enjoy us talking about.
We want to say a huge thank you to you for tuning in. For those of you that are Kingdom Life and those that are outside of Kingdom Life that listened to and enjoyed this podcast. We hope that you go back and listen to the messages. Go back and eat the food that we are talking about. These are the leftovers, but go ahead and eat the meal if you have not. It is still hot and ready.
Little Caesars.
All right, I knew you were going to say that. All right, until we eat again, peace. Peace.